Free press, always good for Oklahoma County info. Where is it? As the county moves forward on plans to construct a new and larger jail facility to replace the much maligned Oklahoma County Detention Center, the jail, funding sources for $300 million plus project are uncertain. So yeah, basically they voted to approve bonds. The Oklahoma County Board of Commissioners voted unanimously in passing a special bond election to help fund a new county jail. The jail will cost approximately $260 million. The election will be held June 28th. Yeah, we're going to pass general obligation bonds. I think they figured out that they could not take the ARPA money as easily, and so they're just going to straight up try to bond this on property taxes. And yeah, I think we all need to, folks need to get together and talk through this. But, here's kind of the slide that tells sort of the story. I mean, they're going to have to buy more land. They're going to give room for future growth. They're going to build it within 10 miles or 10 minutes of downtown, whatever that means. And, yeah, it's going to be a much larger facility. And so, a lot of us who have been in this work, we aren't down for that. The county jail is overcrowded, but it's overcrowded because we got too damn many people in there. And the answer is not to build a bigger one. It is to get people out of the jail that do not belong there.
They've obviously been looking for money to build this jail for years now. When was the jail that we have now built? The 90s, the 80s?
90s. So it was built 30 years ago now, or almost 30 years ago. It was a disaster from the word go. They did a temporary penny sales tax to fund it. Yeah, no, and to talk about this proposal specifically, there are literally Oklahoman articles you can read from the early 2000s where they are proposing this exact proposal. $300 million, 10 minutes of downtown, new jail. So they're, in 20 years of trying to learn our lessons from mass incarceration, they're proposing literally the same thing they proposed 20 years ago. I mean, it is
It's just
crazy.
how are they going to get people to vote for this when the total trust in operation of the jail is non-existent. Nobody trusts the fucking county sheriff to do a job. Number one, because he's never been in charge of people before he got elected to that position. Number two, the jail trust is obviously the board members have changed drastically since we started covering these things back in 2020.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just
so it's
appalling that people, they have a track record now of people dying. The conditions are people compare it to being in hell. This isn't people are killing themselves. This isn't I don't see why you would invest in something when obviously the management of the facility isn't being upheld. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all that. I mean, and my deal is building a new jail is a minimum 5-year project, maybe even longer if there's delays in construction. So it's you still have the same problems you have right now. You just have them for another 5 years and a light at the end of the tunnel. They could fix a ton of this tomorrow by decarcerating, by getting the people out who are not a threat to public safety and who are just in there because they are poor and cannot pay bond. You would reduce the population and allow your staff to be better distributed over the people who are in trouble and need help. I mean, it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I just think Oklahoma City / county has lost its opportunity to have a county jail. We obviously can't do it right, so why should we have the privilege of continuing to try it over and over again when people's lives are at risk? You fucked it up for yourself. You don't get to do it anymore.
Yeah, and I think too, voters would actually really more powerfully support alternatives. If you said, "Hey, we're going to build $100 million higher security facility for the really dangerous people, and then we're going to build a $200 million mental health and addiction treatment facility for the people who we think are suffering from that, and not make it a jail." Maybe you can't get out as easily. We have some intake processes, but but it's designed totally different. We're not considering this a jail. We're considering this a temporary facility for people who are dealing with issues. I mean, I truly believe the voters of Oklahoma County would be like, yeah, sign us up for that. But to build a $300 million caging facility, I just don't. I just don't. I don't think we want that. I don't think the far right wants it. I know the far left doesn't want it. And if the people in the middle would like pull their heads out of their tails for 2 seconds, we could come up with some better options. Like, just propose something that's smart.
Yeah,
Like,
they keep building new facilities, expecting because I think the current jail is right across the street from the old police department headquarters, which had a jail in it, I believe. So
right.
it's like you just keep building and evolving, and obviously this is not solving
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, and there were some comments. Where was that one on Facebook? Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the big critiques I've had about it too. Is the whole building new thing is 10 minutes of downtown. I mean, right now the jail is like a block from the courthouse. So it's like you can transport a lot easier. You can get people in and out. If you build it 10 minutes out, and where they're
It's pretty
talking about is
far.
the airport. I mean, now
It's
you got to go
far.
through these. Yeah, exactly. It's like you just create a giant logistical nightmare, which further delays cases, which further delays getting people out. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It just
I'm
seems
not
like a
going to
bad
say
idea.
that Tulsa's perfect, but like I always bring this up when we talk about the jail. But the jail in Tulsa, you cannot see it from the skyline. You really don't even know what it is unless you were right there up next to it. It's very hard to see. Most people stumble upon it by accident, but it's not a prominent part of the skyline, but it's still close to downtown and the courthouse. It's like Oklahoma City, it's just like I feel like we're stupid down here. Like it feels like we're making stupid fucking infrastructure mistakes that could be easily like workshopped out, but
Yeah.
we're just like avoiding logic at all costs. It's like slap these people, wake up. What are we doing? We're
Yeah.
wasting time, we're wasting energy, we're wasting money, most importantly.
Yeah. Where is.
$260 million.
Well, and somebody's commenting on Facebook. So here, this is crazy. I mean, I don't know if your math's totally right on that, on the interest, but here, let me pull this back up on the stream. So these bonds, I mean, the proposed new county jail is expected to cost $297 million, but the bonds also come with an interest rate up to 10% over the course of their 30-year life, commissioners said. So not only are we paying this debt, but we're paying a bunch of interest on it too. So it's like that jail could end up costing a whole lot more. And when you just think about that level of investment, it's like, why would we invest in a cage facility? Like, we know that's not the best place for mental health. We know that's not the best place for addiction. Hell, we know that's not the best place for criminals, criminality. Like,
Well,
My thing is, if we're gonna build this jail, if this bond passes, this jail better be the best fucking jail in the goddamn world. Like, I don't want any deaths, regardless of like what situation. I want adequate staff. I want adequate food served at adequate times. I want good water temperatures and pressure. I want mold-free air. I want mold-free food. Like, if we're gonna give them this money, then they need to act right. Like, it's just
yeah.
Yeah, I just also feel like it's not conducive to the conversation of building more facilities to house people when majority of jails house people who are awaiting trials. So, I mean, it just doesn't make, especially if people are dying by suicide. Like that's the option that we're left with. And I was reading I think it was a Free Press article. They brought up Rikers and how they hold approximately, I don't know if it's 10,000 people like a month
Yeah.
or it's like they were saying that
At a time, yeah.
they had like 13 or 14 deaths last year, and Oklahoma County that holds somewhere around 1,000 had like 16, I think, and they're saying by the end of 2022 it could be as high as 24. So it doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like a stain. To me, it's like a fucking stain in our city. Like it doesn't. I don't know.
if this jail gets built, then we better not need a new jail for 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's their hope is, yeah, I mean, I think that's the hope is that this is the latest, greatest new jail that'll last forever. But I don't know. To me, it's just more of a philosophical thing. And just, everyone will say that a jail is not the place for people who are suffering from most of the things that people inside the county jail are suffering from. Like it is not the place for mental health. It is not the place for addiction. It's not the place to get your life back together if you've
And
been
it
dealing
shouldn't
with
be a
them.
death sentence. I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
because I don't know if y'all seen that video. I think someone in here sent it to me, or someone sent me a video of interaction with someone who rented a car, and I guess it got reported stolen by the car company. And like the officer in the exchange with the man, he was like, "I could either like take you down to one of the worst Oklahoma jails in like the country." So like even
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like it's not just something that's like unspoken of. Like everybody knows this, and like some people use it as like leverage and like threats. It doesn't make any sense. It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah. No, and that's all like yeah. I mean, that's all part of the philosophy is just like, and why people plead out, is like, I just want to get out of here. So I'm going to plead to something that I didn't even do, or isn't as bad as what they claim. And, just to get out. I mean, that happens all the time. So yeah, a new jail could fix some of those problems for sure. But it also just, in my opinion, leads to other stuff. And just, I don't know. Also, to a smaller facility, you might be able to build it faster. I mean, like, if you built, something more like not temporary, but like just better designed for a smaller population, you might be able to crank it out quicker than a gigantic. Because this one they're proposing, is not a smaller jail; it's 50% larger. So I mean, it's just the opposite of the direction we need to go in almost all senses. Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.